I hope post our discussion yesterday where we analyzed the pre-scene material in depth, you guys had an opportunity to apply the models that we discussed. Did you? Did you get an opportunity to do that? So I did tell you, right? Pestel apply करना है, Porter's five forces लगाना है, सब कुछ करना है, right? So that was the expectation. Today we'll deep dive into these models and understand how can the industry and the company specific position be analyzed in this case. ठीक है, let's start with Porter's five forces model. Porter's five forces model is primarily a tool that we use for analyzing the impact of competitive forces in that particular sector, in that particular industry. Can someone name the five elements or the five forces which make up Porter's five forces?
The bargaining power of the suppliers, bargaining power of the customers, threats of substitute, rivalry of the current employer.
Current employer.
Sorry, that rivalry of the current competitor.
Okay. So, so the Darwin magazine industry, it has a total market size of 8 billion pounds. The top five publishers control approximately 50% of the market, while the remainder is highly fragmented. If you look at this industry, the first force is competitive rivalry, and it appears to be quite high because five large publishers dominate half of the market, with the remaining 50% fragmented across numerous smaller players, right? And see, it's the print medium, print magazines, they don't really have a very high growth rate. In fact, the growth rate, if anything, is declining. In this particular industry, there are high fixed costs in terms of printing, distribution, infra, and the thing is that readers can switch very easily from one magazine to another, or plus they have free alternatives also. And now your competition here is not just other magazines or other online publishers, but it is podcasts, it's other form of electronic media, television, or social media, which is in a way taking away the readers from magazines to all of these other channels. So the point is that competitive rivalry is extremely high in this market, and firms engage in price discounting and aggressive advertising sales to minimize, to basically maintain the capacity utilization. Having well-known writers on board, or having that expertise might help you to improve the performance, but uh, that again, the rivalry or the competitive spirit is so high that you will have to basically work with a lot of intensity to make sure that your brand or your magazine remains at its current position. When we talk about threat of new entrants, in the print market, the threat is substantially high, but in the digital market, the threat of new entrants is, I mean, it's easier for people to enter the digital market as compared to the print market. The barriers are relatively higher in the print market because you need that infrastructure, plus there is a high fixed cost. Development takes years. But on the digital platform, you don't really need a printing infrastructure. You just need someone with a laptop, and that is most of your job done. The capital investment is also minimal, and social media enables, direct distribution, something which even we are benefiting from in our lives also. Right. So I would say that the overall assessment is moderate to high. Traditional barriers are there in the print market, but not so much in the digital market. Bargaining power of buyers is relatively high. Now we are basically, and see, a buyer is someone who pays you for something, right? On one hand, your buyer is the reader, the people who are actually consuming the magazines. See, they have a lot of other alternatives. They have free online content, they have social medias, they have blogs, but at the same time, uh, you don't have, you as a publisher don't have the same level of control. You can't switch so easily, but customers can switch very easily. And plus, see, this is something, which is a part of optional or discretionary spending. It doesn't really define, it's not necessary as a basic sustenance mechanism. Okay. Declining print demand further strengthens reader power as publishers compete for attention. Plus, the very fact that readers can switch easily means you have to cater to their demands. From a buyer perspective, see, what did we discuss? A buyer is anyone who pays you. Now, advertisers are also people who pay you. I mean, you print their ad and they pay you for printing that ad. See, they can easily shift budgets to social media platforms, and they can move to other magazines or other competitors. So for them, switching is easy, which means they will have an upper hand when it comes to negotiation. The readers also and the advertisers also. Advertisers, in fact, most of the money that these newspapers and publications make in real life does not come so much from the consumers or subscribers, but it comes more from the advertisers and the sponsors, because they are the ones who are pumping money. So naturally, they have a relatively higher, they yield a higher power in terms of negotiations also. Now, bargaining power of suppliers, there is platform dependency risk. Supplier power varies significantly across input categories. Traditional suppliers, such as paper manufacturers, operate under commodity dynamics with moderate power. But see, when it comes to digital transformation, when your magazines are, being sold in the digital form as well, the providers of those digital platforms who see, if somebody doesn't like my content, if a particular platform, say X or LinkedIn or whatever, if they don't like my content, there is a possibility that they have enormous power through their algorithm. They can reduce the circulation of my content. They can make sure that my content does not reach the intended audience. So they have a relatively high power when it comes to negotiation. Suppliers of paper, you will find alternative suppliers. Freelance authors also are not so difficult to find per se. But high profile authors are very difficult to find, and you will have to pay a premium to get them to write for your magazine. Talking about distribution services, they yield a moderate power influenced by fuel cost and postal service pricing. So basically, what we are saying here is that out of your suppliers, freelance authors and digital platforms are in a position to uh, exert high influence in these decision making activities, whereas paper suppliers and distribution services, they have a moderate power. Digital platforms, see, because most of the business is now shifting to the digital medium. I think there is heavy dependency on these technology platforms, and their downtime can affect you. At the same time, what does affect you is ki, if, say for example, you don't pay them the price that they ask for, they will reduce the visibility of your content on their platform. So you have to be very careful when dealing with them. And of course, threat of substitutes. Who is my competitor? Someone who is selling this same content for free online, right? Social media, AI generated content, audio and video. I mean, at one point in time, I used to draft even the smallest aspect of my LinkedIn post. Today, I know that at least some pointers I can have. So I can have, your chat GPT draft some of that for me. So people who were already in the business as graphic designers, beach mein, I'm sure you saw this meme that there is this graphic designer who goes to a chatwala and she says, I am unemployed, I can make this for you. And he says, I already have a Canva subscription, right? So the same thing happens with us as well. Ki your competition is AI, your competition is social media, your competition is free digital content, podcast, YouTube channels, basic streaming platforms. They offer far more engaging content as compared to reading a particular magazine. So that is your competition right now. Okay, have a look. ठीक है. And the what are the strategic implications? You can strengthen your brand by offering unique content which your substitutes will not be able to offer. You can reduce platform risk by developing direct subscriber relationships to decrease algorithm dependency. So instead of depending on the YouTube or the LinkedIn algorithm, you have developed a loyal subscriber base which follows your content regardless of where it is published. Because advertisers are in a very strong position to control the narrative. You should aim at increasing the subscriber base so that you start making enough money from subscriptions also. You can enhance analytics by investing in data capabilities to demonstrate advertiser value and understand readers. Basically, what this means is, if you know ki what is it that your readers consume, if you know that what is it that your readers click on, then you can collaborate with the right kind of advertisers and negotiate the correct price. Fixed cost is a major challenge when it comes to the publication industry. You could try to control the fixed costs by shifting either to the digital medium or keeping some other costs under control. And because of declining demand for sales right now, the sales in the print platform right now, I think the focus should move towards digital and digital innovation. So, see, the industry is structurally challenged, and there is a lot of disruption that is happening because of digital news and digital magazines and all of that. So, if you want to survive in this market, I think one of the ways to do that would be to have digital innovation, cost control, and increasing your subscriber base. Your success will depend upon how nicely are you able to increase the subscriber base and reduce the dependence on advertisers. Because ultimately, having the right mix of subscription revenue and advertising revenue, I think that is what will make a lot of change to how the industry is perceived. Okay. Now, let's perform a SWOT analysis. Can someone tell me the full form of SWOT, Himanshu?
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, Himanshu, go ahead.
For SWOT is divided into four parts. Strength, offer opportunity, then W stands for weakness, and the T stands for
Threat.
threats. Okay.
Now, what are some of the strategic advantages or strengths that this company has? A, in terms of market leadership, it is one of the largest publishers in the industry in Darlin right now. It is, in fact, in the top five, and it has created a brand and a positioning for itself over the last 6 decades, and that itself shows that they are here to stay. They have around 300 magazines that they are publishing, which indicates portfolio diversification. They are not dependent on, incomes or, subscription from any one specific magazine. In fact, 300 magazines, I would say, is over diversification. Another good part is that they are not dependent just on subscription. They also get good advertising revenue. So there are dual revenue streams, and then there is operational control also. Basically, in-house printing that Merce has, it will it reduces third-party dependency and reduces the chances of quality issues later with other people, and it helps to maintain operational control throughout production. Another point in favor of the company is that it has a strong governance framework with 50-50 executive and non-executive directors while a split. The chairperson is independent, and it has a comprehensive committee structure which enhances investor confidence. ठीक है. Directors' 30% equity stake demonstrates long-term commitment and alignment with shareholder interest. Directors still have a 30% stake. Institutional investors have 50%. But these are the four strengths, so to say. Weaknesses, what we can see right now, that if you have read the pre-scene correctly, the company focuses only on it has domestic offices and domestic distribution centers, does not have a global presence that way. And if the local market suffers, then naturally the company will also suffer. ठीक है. Then platform dependency, long-term reliance on same digital platform plus algorithm dependency on search engines. It reduces the autonomy and innovation potential. One of the strengths that we discussed here, the company has in-house printing that could very easily turn into a weakness, because to maintain the machinery, you have to pay maintenance charges. There are fixed running costs also involved, and that could be a major challenge if the revenue goes through a downturn. Okay. And geographic concentration, because it is focused, or because it has offices only in Darlin, I think it is losing out on international exposure. Plus, if the Darlin market goes through a downturn, then naturally the company will suffer and it will not have any other source of generating revenue. Like what I said, 300 plus titles is over diversification. Uh, there are resource allocation issues as well. And it's, too much work to be done, and keeping up with 300 different publications, magazines would be a difficult task. ठीक है. There is minority shareholder marginalization in the sense, देखो, institutional investors have 50%, directors have around 30%. So sorry, six institutional 60-30 ऐसा split है, right? So your retail investors have only 10%. So technically they have no say in how the operations of the company are working. Now, yes, Tahir?
Sir, I had one doubt. So, sir, if the print-based magazine segment is facing a gradual decline in the growth, so the measures to counter it would be taken industry-wide or for the particular business, that is Mercy Company in our case, because it is five largest producers of magazines and the entire print-based segment is facing decline. So, measures would be taken industry-wide or just for the business?
How do we care what happens industry wide? अपना क्वेश्चन तो अपने कंपनी पे आएगा ना.
Yes. Okay,
ठीक
sir.
है. Then, what opportunities exist for Mercy Company? First is digital expansion, increased digital subscription, penetration through multimedia content and analytics driven advertising. It offers scalability, lower marginal cost, and global reach potential. You have a huge subscriber base who are logging on to your websites. So it will help you to create a subscriber database, which will help you in making targeted advertising possible. Like, we are all victims of targeted advertising. You search for one trip to France, and on your Insta, you will constantly start getting, you know, other suggestions, take this trip, take this trip, take this trip. So somebody is collecting your data and using that data to target you, and that data itself is helping you earn money. So data monetization could be a huge plus for the company. Right now, the company is focused only in Darland, but diversifying into the international segment can also be a good opportunity for the company, because right now it doesn't have any international presence. Talking about ESG differentiation, the company has already made it clear that it focuses on sustainability and maintaining this perspective in long term, and keeping up with environmental, social, and governance aspects can help to build the trust of investors and can improve the credibility of the brand. Along with that, there are, of course, threats and other issues facing the company. There is structural decline in print media. You have a lot of substitutes, blogs, social media, podcast, other websites, which are creating a huge competition for you. Then you also run the platform algorithm risk. Like I told you, LinkedIn ने हमारा reach बहुत कम कर दिया है. I told you we are at 20% of the original number that we used to chase in terms of views and everything on our post. So right now, the LinkedIn algorithm has undergone a change, and we have not been able to crack it open to serve our interests. What if this magazine also faces the same challenge? And then, of course, there is economic cyclicality. See, magazines, like somebody pointed out yesterday, these are discretionary purchases. In the sense, this is not something you do for, it's not food, clothing, and shelter, right? It's leisure spending. So, if it is leisure spending, then naturally, if there is an impact on disposable income because of changes in the economy, people will not give up food, but people will definitely give up consumption of magazines and such other content. So naturally, these are some of the strategic risks that the entity is facing. Okay. So with that, we are done with SWOT analysis. हमने क्या क्या देखा? We saw Porter's five forces, then we saw SWOT. Now let's have a look at the pestle analysis for this particular industry. Now, who can tell me the full form of pestle?
So political, economical, social, technological, uh, ecological, and legal.
Political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal. Now, talking about the political environment, regulatory pressures are increasing. The Newspapers and Magazine Standards Authority has imposed strict compliance requirements to ensure accuracy and standards and employee conduct. Uh, Non-compliance can result in substantial fines, which can cause, uh, a lasting damage to the brand. Then there are high compliance costs involved in this particular industry, in the sense that the amount that you will take to the amount of time that will have to be spent in doing review of each and every piece of news or each and every article that goes out. Uske liye you will have to employ additional staff. Plus, if there is non-compliance, then you incur fines and penalties. Plus, when you are operating in the digital sphere, you do face pressure from, face pressure from the fact that your data can very easily be stolen, right? So, talking about data protection issues, the company needs a robust system to take care of that, because if it does not match the requirements laid down under the various laws and regulations made by this Newspaper and Magazine Standards Authority, it can tarnish your image in the long run, right? Also, people in different parts of the world constantly keep on saying, hey, we don't have freedom of speech, we don't have freedom of speech. Tomorrow, if the government imposes certain restrictions on you, then that can basically restrict what all you can and cannot publish, and that itself will create further limitations for the business. ठीक है. Now, economic vulnerability. From an economic perspective, if we want to analyze this business, first thing is discretionary spending. Magazines are not essential purchases. Magazines are basically, leisure, yeah, shock ke liye it is something that you buy, not because you need it to sustain on a daily basis. So if the economy goes through a downturn, people will cut down on discretionary spending, right? Then inflation pressures, your paper cost, distribution, fuel, salaries, all of these are expected to increase, and that will overall have an impact of increasing the total cost of production. Then currency volatility, foreign currency exposure, because tomorrow if you decide here now now I want to expand into international markets, then foreign currency exposure will definitely affect you. And economic pressures might lead to mergers, acquisitions, and market exits, fundamentally reshaping competitive industry. Like India may in the airline sector, with so many, airlines getting acquired by each other. So क्या हो रहा है? Businesses are getting consolidated because of the pressure on costs and other challenges in running the business. So, because this is also a high fixed cost industry, that consolidation might happen. ठीक है. talking about social transformation, see, social factors represent what is it that people want in general, what are their thought processes, what is their psychology. Right now customers prefer digital. I mean, there are friends of mine and even I have the same opinion ki listen, if I purchase a hard copy book, I have to store it in my house, and when I shift my residence, I have to take care of transporting so many, books, and the weight becomes too much. On the other hand, read on Kindle or borrow a book on Kindle which comes at a lower price and then repay it. You also have an alternative, which is that there are so many other alternatives available that people and customers in general are shifting to digital and they don't want to stay with print media. Then sustainability and social responsibility have taken over, in the sense that if you publish any incorrect information or information that does not have its foundation in truth, then naturally it will have an impact on how readers perceive your brand. Also, being ethical is something which is a basic for the consumers of today. So the social impact or the impact of society, their psychology, their mindset, it will also have an impact on how the magazine publishing industry is working. In terms of technology, which in the digital market will become the primary driver of industry change, there are four aspects that you need to be aware of. What are these four aspects? First is platform dependency. While technology is welcome, you are dependent on a platform created by a third party. Now, that platform can crash at any time. Plus, if you are shifting to another vendor, you will have to incur costs all over again. Then there is algorithm risk. I think we have been discussing it from the first analysis today. Search engine changes can dramatically reduce visibility and traffic. All these political parties ka IT cells, they keep on criticizing each other. Ki, you know what? Our content is getting pushed down because you are promoting, say, for example, one political party's propaganda on social media or on the platform because they have paid you more. So the algorithm can very easily be altered at the back end. That might mean that even though your work is good, it gets pushed down. You could have cyber threats also, that your security of your data is getting breached. See, in print media, all of these issues were not there. And AI competition, which is an emerging threat. AI generated content may lower barriers to entry and reduce content differentiation. Okay. I mean, I have a bot of mine, not a bot, what do you call it? Avatar, and so much that was happening on social media was just my voiceover, but that bot was talking. So I have competition from AI. In fact, my AI bot is my competition right now, right? From an environmental perspective, people have realized that climate change has an impact on your strategy. Extreme weather events can disrupt supply chains and have an impact on reader habits. The sustainability pressures right now are higher than they were at any point of time in the past. With the consumers becoming more and more aware, naturally the pressure on the company is more. Investor confidence, brand perception, regulatory standing, all of these get affected. Publishers must demonstrate environmental responsibility, otherwise the young population that you are dealing with, that will definitely say ki, no, we don't want to associate with this brand because they are using animal fat in their products. So if you are, say, for example, publishing certain content which offends the sentiments of people, and in today's day and age anything can offend anyone literally, so from a social perspective also you are suffering, from an environmental perspective also you are suffering. Then publishing in this particular it faces another risk also, in the sense that this is a mixture of legal plus the environment that we are living in, that any content which is deemed inaccurate or defamatory can bring in huge reputational loss. Plus, at the same time, you will have to pay fines and penalties if you insult another individual through your work. ठीक Now see, this is uh, something that I just prepared. मुझे थोड़ा मजा आया ये करने में, इसीलिए दिस इज नॉट गिवन एनीवेयर डायरेक्टली इन द प्री सीन. इन माय अंडरस्टैंडिंग, टेक्नोलॉजिकल रिस्क वाज द हाईएस्ट, सो आई गेव इट द highest rating. Environmental risk was the lowest because the company has demonstrated a certain commitment towards sustainability practices, तो मैंने उसका रेटिंग थोड़ा कम रखा. That was my analysis. So it could change. I did this because I found it very, very appealing when I was analyzing the pre-scene. Yes, Mr. Shah.
So just one thing, when we are analyzing this like Porter's five forces and this spatial analysis or BCG matrix or something like that. So most importantly thing we have to highlight the risk associated with the thing like pastel mein that is political. The political mein what all risk is associated with the companies and also we have to
Impact.
give impact. Okay.
Not just risk, impact. मतलब
Impact.
the fact that the janta around you is becoming environmentally aware and you are
Hmm.
already committed to sustainability, that's a positive or a favorable impact for you, right?
Yes,
It,
sir.
it cannot be just the risk, it also can be a positive impact on your business.
Okay. So it might have positive or it will have negative. So we have to get
It
a mixture
might,
of
दोनों
both.
में might है, दोनों में
या
will
माइट
नहीं
माइट
है. हाँ.
माइट मतलब तो दोनों वी हैव टू गिव अ मिक्सचर एंड प्रेजेंट द इंफॉर्मेशन.
Yes. And
ओके.
you don't have to do anything right now. I have done everything.
नहीं 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 मतलब इन द
हाँ.
एग्जाम इफ द क्वेश्चन कम्स सो वैसे और कुछ नहीं.
मैं एक वो भी लिस्ट दूंगा ना,
हाँ
क्वेश्चंस
हाँ.
का.
ओके.
मतलब वैसे का वैसा नहीं आता है,
हाँ हाँ
बाय द
समझ
वे.
गया हाँ सर बट एग्जाम्पल के ऐसा आ सकता है.
वरना नहीं आए तो मुझे वहीं से ठाकुर कॉलेज से गाली देगा.
नहीं
क्यों?
नहीं सर. नहीं माही में सर इस बार.
माहिम, ओके, माहिम फिर से ओपन हो गया क्या?
हाँ सर जेवियर्स.
ओके.
सर चालू ही था, बंद नहीं हुआ था।
सर
हाँ
लास्ट
मैं.
टाइम भी
माहिम तो
चालू था।
हाँ
ठाकुर
सर.
कौन था ना
यस
शायद
सर।
से.
ठाकुर कौन सा सर कांदिवली.
अरे अपना कांदिवली वाला, मेरे घर के
नहीं
पास
सर,
जो था
मुंबई
वो.
सेंट्रल में है,
सर
मुंबई
वो तो
सेंट्रल।
सर वो तो कभी नहीं चालू था ना.
ठाकुर was on, maybe you, before you guys were
अच्छा
getting
हाँ
into
हाँ हाँ.
ACCA. हाँ.
But sir, why is there only one slot in SBL this time? Only 1:30 slot. बाकी
हाँ,
सिटिंग्स में तो
सीरियसली।
है सुबह में 9:30 का स्लॉट.
क्या पता यार.
नहीं है 9:30।
You know
एंड
ना this
मुंबई
one
में खाली मुंबई
superstition.
सेंट्रल का ही था अवेलेबल, माहिम तो था भी नहीं।
भर क्या रहा है
माहिम
माहिम?
माहिम रिजल्ट के पहले ही भर जाता।
See, you have your answer.
नो नो सर मतलब मैंने तो बुक किया आफ्टर रिजल्ट
हाँ,
भी मतलब समझो
इवन
ना.
आई बुक्ड इट
5-6
आफ्टर
दिन के
रिजल्ट
बाद.
माइम
हाँ
का.
5-6 दिन के बाद
जेवीएस
किया
का
फिर भी मिल गया.
सेम सेम.
Okay. Yes, Shreya, you have something to ask. I hope it is about SBL, huh?
यस सर, यस सर।
हाँ.
आई विल कॉल यू पर्सनली टू आस्क क्वेश्चन।
ओके, बोलो.
सर हमें पता है ऐसे बहुत से क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, उसमें मतलब ऐसे पूछते हैं कि क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज है या फिर क्या थ्रेट्स है या फिर एडवांटेजेस या डिसएडवांटेजेस। सर तो ऐसे क्वेश्चंस में हम मतलब ऐसे लिख सकते हैं कि ये वाले क्वेश्चन में वी वी आर यूजिंग स्वॉट एनालिसिस। तो सर उसमें सिर्फ जो मतलब स्ट्रेंथ्स और वीकनेस ही मतलब वो दो कैटेगरी में ही हम डालें।
देखो, इट्स ओके इफ यू डोंट मेंशन द मॉडल नेम. ठीक है. बट यू शुड बी एबल टू एनालाइज.
ओके सर।
ठीक
सर
है.
मतलब ऐसे बहुत से क्वेश्चंस मैंने देखे हैं उसमें कोई मॉडल अप्लाई भी नहीं हो रहा है। तो सर ऐसे ही हम लिखेंगे तो फिर हमें वो देंगे मार्क्स, मतलब ऐसे काटेंगे नहीं।
मॉडल के मार्क्स अलग से नहीं है. आई थिंक आई हैव शेयर्ड दैट आर्टिकल विथ यू ऑलरेडी. एसीसीए का आर्टिकल है, राइट? मॉडल के मार्क्स नहीं है, एनालिसिस के मार्क्स है. ठीक है.
ओके सर।
हाँ. यस ताहिर जी,
यस
बताइए.
सर।
सर आई डोंट हैव अ राइट फीलिंग अबाउट दिस बिकॉज यू आर गोइंग टू पोस्ट इट, सो मुझे पूछना चाहिए कि नहीं, पर
रुको रुको
पूछ लूं
रुको
सर.
रुको. श्रेया, यू ना मतलब यू विल फाइंड सम वे टू. चलो, अब
सर
ये
आप
देखो.
क्लास में ही ज्यादा बात करते हो।
मैं क्लास में ही बात करता हूं. चलो, इधर देखो अभी. स्ट्रैटेजिक इंपरेटिव्स फॉर what the company can do in terms of shaping up future strategies, accelerate digital transformation, urgent investment in digital platforms, multimedia capabilities, cross-channel distribution, where you ask like, subscribe, share, and then you ask another influencer to promote your product, that kind of a thing. Develop your cybersecurity measures, reduce dependency on the print platform, work more on the ESG part of it, because that is something which will help to really build your business. Then diversification of revenue streams, not depending just on advertising or just on subscription. See if there are other avenues possible. Reduce fixed cost exposure. When you move to digital, I think that can be reduced to a great extent. The more freelancer writers you have, the better it is for you. And invest in innovation, because right now we don't know what will bring us what will get us that added layer of success. Because even in our business right now, the one that I am in, we don't know कि यार growth कहाँ पे मिलेगा. So we have to keep on trying and analyzing newer things. Now, if I have to talk about strategic growth and have a framework for that, see, Mersey operates within a structurally shifting landscape right now. Why do I say so? Print business, which was the more traditional business, it is facing a decline while digital opportunities are growing. Our growth strategy has to balance both of them, right? Long term perspective bhi rakhna hai, but without compromising on our ideals. So let's try to apply the Ansoff matrix to evaluate the different pathways, right? Now, can you tell me the different alternatives that are available under the Ansoff matrix, and what does it help you with?
So answer of matrix gives us a alternative, like which new market to enter, or new product segment, or new product to be developed, right?
Okay.
And which instrument or which product to be reworked on, or that gives in the matrix, that can help us get about the segment or the market or the product wise analysis.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
Anyone else who wants to tell me something about the Ansoff matrix or that specific model? Yes, Roshnara, tell me.
So basically, if you want to um, gain more market share in your existing market with your existing product, you penetrate into the market with various strategies like pricing strategy. You create low prices like price skimming, and price penetration. I get confused between these two. And then
Okay.
if you want to grow in the um, existing market with matlab if you want to grow in the existing market with a new product, you do product diversification, you create new products and make them explore in your existing market to know the customer response, and then you can expand it to other areas too, and then the other two variables too.
Okay. As a first step, as one of the first pathways is market penetration. Go deeper into the existing market. So whatever is your core business, try to stabilize that, try to grow that. So try to drive more digital subscriptions. Try to see if you can bundle print and digital together, or see if you can convert the print customers only directly into digital customers, and try to have analytics driven ad pricing. So if there are say four ads that come on your website, and you see that people are clicking on the Asian Paints ka ad more, that means that particular item, when people see, there is a greater pull. So you could maybe discontinue the other ads, or reduce the number of times that particular ad is shown, and push this particular advertisement to get more consumer attention. You will also have to understand that, see, this does not offset the structural decline in print media. वो decline रहेगा, but how can you make sure that you don't lose out on customers? Before adding new customers, try to convert your existing print media के customers to digital media. ठीक है? Then talking about see, you will have to understand that it will help you generate cash flows, and that is necessary because before finding new customers you don't have to spend additional money on customer acquisition cost. जो print के customers है उन्हीं को आप digital customers में you can convert, right? And it will cause minimum possible disruption to your operations. The second pathway is the product development pathway. Product development represents Mercy's most critical transformation. By creating enhanced digital offerings for our existing audience, we leverage brand reputation and editorial expertise while building sustainable competitive differentiation. What we mean by this is you could have multimedia expansion. So instead of just focusing on digital में print work, you could also start video content, include interactive features, and have podcasts and videos also, which will help to push you deeper into your existing audience. And you are developing newer product lines. You are not depending only on the old ones, because people today don't read now, they listen to audiobooks, right? So that's the difference. Then make sure that you have developed exclusive content, early access, and membership communities that create differentiated value. So on certain websites certain articles are for free, whereas other articles के लिए you have to pay, right? So that is premium content. कुछ कुछ these streaming platforms पे 4 episodes are free and then the other episodes are chargeable. So I was planning to do that on YouTube बीच में for some other skill level subject, but कौन करेगा इतना effort? And then data products, analytics driven advertising solutions, and paid archive access that monetize Merce's content library and audience insights. You could also think of it. So this is thoda sa in-depth additional analysis from my end. Ki if your advertising solutions are analytics driven, what difference does it make?
Sir, it will help them to generate more income from advertising, like to show which ad to a particular person or particular group of people, so that मतलब targeted marketing या targeted advertising help कर सकता है ज़्यादा revenue generate करने में.
That is correct. And when you're going for this digital transformation, I think your mission was always to engage, enable, entertain while addressing the fundamental shift, right? So do not leave control of that. When I'm talking about the risks involved here, naturally there is a huge investment in technology that will have to happen. You will have to ensure that you have the capability to work on this kind of technology and a deeper cultural adaptation, because आपके staff को भी print से digital में shift करना पड़ेगा उनका mindset. So that change of course will will be critical. Market development and diversification, basically expansion. Expanding existing digital products to international audiences and new demographic segments offers moderate risk growth opportunities. So instead of just remaining confined to the country of Darwin, you should ideally explore different countries, different geographies, and make sure that you can deliver content according to the rules and regulations there. Or you could also start, some adjacent revenue streams like, analytics work or content production for third parties. That is market development and diversification wala option. Now it depends on you. Do you want to go for product development, market development, penetration, or selective diversification? Correct. It depends on a question maybe in the exhibits they will provide you with some more information, and that will help you. If at all the question talks about what to do next, then the answer of matrix based on what we have studied so far can give you that strategic outlook key. Given the availability of cash with the company, given the company's risk taking capacity, given the company's intellectual capacity, and these aspects, you will be able to decide whether you should have the same perspective and continue abhi jo kar rahe ho wo, या you have the capability to go into a different roadmap for the growth of the entity. Yes, Shubh.
Sir, here in the market penetration, you have, matlab, it is written that defensive focus. But sir, we are already in the market with the existing product, so we have to expand. Matlab, we have to create more. What can I say? Uh, So with the existing product, so how it will be a defensive focus? It will be a मतलब active, right? मतलब अटैकिंग फोकस, बिकॉज एग्जिस्टिंग प्रोडक्ट्स को ही हमें उसको और एडवर्टाइज करके और उसका सेल्स बढ़ाना है बेसिकली.
But defensive because we are trying to defend our strengths right now by going deeper instead of expanding the nature of operations, right? अभी क्या है, we are only focusing on what the reason why we are calling it defensive is कि हम नया कुछ explore नहीं कर रहे. We are trying to safeguard our existing position by going in deeper. That's the thought process here. ठीक है, एक बार have a look.
Sir, but as per the scenario, Mercy company is not trying to diversify it right now, right?
As per the pre-scene, no, but हम analysis पूरा करके रखे हैं कि if something comes, we should be able to deal with it.
Its main priority is product development to enter into the digital segment.
Right now, yes, that is correct.
Okay, sir.
ठीक है, ये हो गया अपना ANSOF वाला डिस्कशन. नाउ इज BCG एनालिसिस पॉसिबल हियर, BCG मैट्रिक्स? What does the BCG matrix help with? I'll come back in a minute. I'll have some water and come back. ठीक है, तब तक you can think about this from a BCG matrix वाला point of view. ठीक है, just give me a moment. BCG matrix वाला जो analysis है, that is mostly inward looking, right? Because you are analyzing your portfolio. You look at market share and you look at the market growth rate when you want to do BCG analysis. ठीक है, 300 magazine titles है तो naturally it's a huge portfolio that you have. So how do you identify strategic business units? So effective BCG analysis will require segmentation, है ना? So mass market titles which have a large consumer appeal, something like an India Today, or some film magazine maybe, which a lot of people read, which is general, nothing super technical. Core digital offerings, then specialist publications. अब जैसे there are these magazines like Scientific America and all of that. Not everybody has the aptitude to read it, so those become specialist publications. Then some innovative publications on the digital platform, and then of course legacy print portfolio. Long standing, long performing titles will come under this category, are which probably don't generate so much revenue now, but for the sake of legacy and the history part of it, they are still kept functioning. Now, from a cash cow perspective, see, what is cash cow? High share in a low growth market. So Merce's established print-based mainstream magazines represent cash cows. See, it is one of the top five players in a market which is declining in terms of print media. So you will benefit from stronger brand recognition, having a loyal subscriber base. People of a certain age group, will continue to subscribe to your magazines, and these magazines have been giving you stable revenue over decades. ठीक है, the 27% overall margin achieved in 2005 demonstrates cash generation capability of these assets. And although the shift is happening from print media to digital media, these magazines continue to provide you with a steady stream of cash flows. You can stay invested in this market, but you need to what they are saying is harvest cash systematically. What do you mean by harvest cash systematically? It basically means that whatever cash you are generating from this particular type of magazines, make sure that you are investing it in the right way, maybe in high growth products also, that cross subsidization can happen. You will have to make an effort to control operational costs and avoid heavy reinvestment. वो जैसा चल रहा है वैसा उसको चलने दो. because even if you pump in too much money, the growth is going to be limited. Your star category is high share in a high growth market, right? These are digital leaders, the new innovative, not necessarily innovative, but magazines on the digital front which have the capability to drive up revenue, where fixed costs are relatively more contained. You have better analytics capability, and the only effort or the only cost that you have to incur is on platform investment. The stars demand ongoing investment basically to maintain that competitive advantage. इसके लिए जो cash आपको चाहिए, where is that cash coming from? That cash is
This cash is
primarily
from
coming from
cash
the cash
cows.
cows. So that cross subsidization will become important. ठीक है. Question marks are basically low share products in a high growth market. So, emerging digital products like podcast, new multimedia formats, experimental content offerings, they come in the question mark territory. We really don't know. We'll still have to, they probably don't even generate such a high profit. You will have to spend some time in this particular market to understand कि इसमें growth possible, will that growth be sustained, and is it possible for us to grow our market share. ठीक है, this is a strategic quadrant because you can't make a decision right now. You will have to basically strike that balance between immediate financial returns and long term strategic positioning. So वो balance establish करके ही you will have to work on the question marks. And dogs of course are low share products in a low growth market. Inevitably there will be products, in say if you have 300 plus titles, there will be magazines which fall under this category, jinka circulation kam hai, which don't even get so much advertising revenue, fixed costs are high. So these are those magazines which are draining your time, energy, effort, money, but they are not generating returns. You might decide to disinvest or divest from this particular category. Okay. Now, uh, so the strategic portfolio recommendations are the same in every BCG matrix wala situation, right? Cash cows harvest cash, invest that money aggressively in stars. In question marks, don't choose all the products. Maybe apply techniques like capital rationing and see where you can invest your funds. Do it in a very smart manner, and then rationalize dogs decisively, in the sense exit weak titles, consolidate overlapping publications, and reduce the fixed cost burden. ठीक है. So that is a decision that you will have to make depending on where you stand right now. अब ये आपको एग्जिबिट के बेसिस पे डिसाइड करना पड़ेगा. यू विल नॉट हैव दैट एंटायर इंफॉर्मेशन विथ यू इन वन गो. यू विल हैव टू अगेन, अगर आपको एग्जिबिट में उस टाइप का इंफॉर्मेशन दिया है, तो नेचुरली द आंसर विल हैव टू बी स्ट्रक्चर्ड एंड फ्रेम्ड इन दैट वे. ठीक है. शुभ, यू हैड अ क्वेश्चन. बोलो.
Sir, in the question mark, it we can assess like that. Okay, it is upcoming field. It has high potential, but we have to expand and look into it. We have to figure things out. Okay, it is the next trend, next big thing. So in the short form, can we just remember like that? कि question mark is it is the next upcoming big thing. वैसे करके.
Yeah, but if you have 10 items in question mark, not all of them have the potential to become the next big thing. You will have to keep a watchful eye open. है ना?
We have to assess its potential. कि भाई ये ग्रो कर सकता है कि नहीं वैसे. ठीक है.
Yes. Okay. Now let's thoda sa check from the perspective of agency theory. Can you quickly outline the idea of agency theory for me? Principal agent relationship. Can you outline that?
So principal agent theory means the principals are those who basically are the shareholders or the people who have invested their money into the business, and they have given the responsibility of running the business to the agents. So there is an there is all matlab, agents are responsible for running the business, and they have to uh,
Work
uh,
on the
work
performance.
work on the what economic economic benefit of in the economic benefit of the company, and also to increase the share in increasing the shareholders' wealth.
Mm-hmm.
So just a basic idea about agency theory.
Okay. Agency theory basically is, see, agency theory can be applied in a lot of situations. यहाँ पे agency theory stems from the idea that shareholders are the owners of the business whose money is at stake here, right? But they cannot participate in the day-to-day running of the business. So they have appointed a set of individuals who we call directors who run the business on their behalf. Now, there is a possibility that these directors might run the business in a manner which is most beneficial for them, whereas it might be detrimental for the overall wealth generation of the company and the shareholders. So, what the agents are delivering and what the company wants, sorry, what the agents are trying to do and what the shareholders expect might be at complete odds with each other. The directors might work in a manner which suits their interests the most. How can that happen? They can do so by giving high salaries to themselves or allocating contracts to their families and friends, even though it is not in the best interest of the company. So, in this case, that principle, so you will need someone to protect the interests of the shareholders who are the principals. So इसमें later on, of course, the non-executive directors का presence will play an important role. Agents control the company, but the money at stake belongs to the shareholders or the principal. Now, interests may diverge in the sense that the directors management might want something else for themselves, whereas the what they will end up doing will be detrimental to the interests of the owners slash shareholders. Okay. And talking about information asymmetry, management possesses granular data, whereas shareholders only have a bird's eye view. शेयर के पास सारा इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है, शेयर के पास सिर्फ लिमिटेड इंफॉर्मेशन है, मैनेजमेंट के पास सारा कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन है दुनिया भर का. ठीक है. सो समवेयर we might end up in a position where the directors will take the shareholders for a ride. Right now, the company structure looks something like this. The institutional shareholders are roughly 60%. The director's shareholding is 30%, whereas individual retail shareholders occupy only 10% of the overall shareholding in the company. So it might happen that because institutional investors occupy a majority, they will work only for themselves, point one, and the shareholders are actually non-controlling interest here if you observe. 10% जो retail shareholders है, they are NCI, minority shareholders in every way. So certain decisions might be detrimental to them. इसके लिए Companies Act, often has a provision to safeguard the interest of minority shareholders. AFM में है एक जगह पे ये part, by the way, protecting the interest of minority shareholders. Now, ideally, the board should have a mix of executive and non-executive directors. ठीक है. Right now, the company has 6 executive directors and 6 independent non-executive directors. ठीक है. There is an independent chairperson and there are 4 key committees. It's good. Independent NEDs will help to establish that balance. They will be like those, watchdogs, or how can we describe them?
Guardians for the
Guardians
shareholders.
follow. Yeah, they take the moral high road, moral high ground basically. And if they see any activity happening which is detrimental to the interests of the company, then they will be the onus is on them to stop that activity from going ahead. The chairperson is independent. There is an audit committee, risk committee, remuneration committee, and nomination committee, which will basically help to ensure that uh, excessive remuneration is not paid to directors. The people who are chosen for the post of directors get adequate nominations. As in, in the sense कि वही people are not selected. They nominate people who are fit to lead the company and not going through the whole nepotism route, right? The remuneration committee will help to ensure that excessive remuneration is not paid. making a mix of cash component and performance based incentives that can be given to the management so that they are also involved in the success of the company. They also feel responsible, they are also involved. ठीक है. Misaligned incentives could cause over emphasis on print profitability. और क्या हो सकता है कि if the if you pay a high cash component and no performance based incentive, then directors see उनको क्या लग रहा है. Like for example, my situation, if I think about, I get one student for Plutus, 500 students for Plutus, my salary is the same ना. What difference does it make to my salary? Tomorrow if I decide कोई भी बैच नहीं लेता हूँ, चलो मुझे तो उतना ही पैसा मिलेगा. So somewhere there has to see यार, I have to speak practically ना. So somewhere there has to be a linkage between the fixed salary component and the performance based incentive. Just an example. So short term, long term हिसाब से एक हो सकता है आपका commission on sales. दूसरा हो सकता है कि you are basically giving employee stock options, so that can basically help you. And making sure that the information communicated to the shareholders is there is no or there is no insufficient information or incorrect information going to the shareholders. So all the key points have to be communicated to the shareholders. If you remember, हमने SBR में देखा था one topic called management commentary, याद है? होल्स कंपनी करके एक क्वेश्चन है, उसके पहले
हाँ
मैनेजमेंट
सर।
कमेंट्री का छोटा सा डिस्कशन है. हाँ, मैनेजमेंट कमेंट्री इज नैरेटिव डिस्क्रिप्शन ना. व्हाट आर द फ्यूचर प्रोस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ द कंपनी, अभी क्या चल रहा है, एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट विच इज नॉट कवर्ड इन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स. यूजर्स ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स नीड टू नो अबाउट इट, राइट? और शेयर होल्डर सबसे पहले क्या देखेंगे? दे विल चेक द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स, है ना. When it comes to digital transformation or that company acquisition which is happening, or which can happen ki chalo you want to grow your presence in the market, so you start acquiring smaller publishers. Even at that time you will have to do that risk agency risk analysis. Why so? Because the directors might want to acquire a target for their own personal reasons, and that portfolio might not necessarily be aligned with the company. वो भी हो सकता है ना कि sometimes the reasons are very stupid, they do it for satisfying their own ego, when in fact it is not beneficial to the company in any way. So definitely that point plays a role. Plus, the decision about in-house printing also will have to be revisited, in the sense that, see, competitors are outsourcing everything, but Merce is keeping it in-house. So this might reflect resistance to change or protection of managerial control. But if you will have, ideally you should do that cost benefit analysis. Now make or buy का जो decision है, do you want to make it in-house or do you want to buy it? Naturally, that will play a role. Then agency cost at Merce. First is monitoring cost, expenses incurred through non-executive directors. उनको sitting fees देना पड़ेगा, right? You will have to spend on the committees and their respective members. Then bonding cost. What is bonding cost? Cost of aligning management incentives with shareholder interest through remuneration redesign, equity participation, and performance linked compensation structures. This will also play a role, followed by the idea of residual loss. Residual loss means the value destroyed by suboptimal decisions, which sometimes becomes very difficult to quantify. A decision, when it goes wrong, it might harm your reputation, it might harm your credibility. This company might be seen as a company where the directors are working for their own benefit without really taking into consideration what is best for the company. So in the long run it might be a bigger impact on the company as compared to monitoring cost and bonding cost. ठीक है. अब right now, if I assess from an agency risk perspective, see, there are a couple of strengths that we have an equal number of NEDs. ठीक है. There is a separate chair and CEO, and the chair is independent. Then you have a risk committee. ठीक है. You have an audit committee, but there are certain challenges also. 60% of the holding is with institutional investors. Directors के पास सिर्फ 30% stake है. ठीक है. There might be some short-term pressures also in terms of If the institutional shareholders don't have that long-term vision, they might resist capital-intensive digital transformation, and they might feel कि यार जो भी है, deliver the value to us in short term, and we don't want to spend so much on, basically investing in long-term IT projects. ठीक है? And if you are shifting to, if you are trying to reduce the cost, and you say कि चलो employees को हटाते हैं, and in their place let's bring in freelancers, so naturally employees will be removed, so बहुत सारा other issues भी हो सकता है आपको, right? Yes, Tahir.
Sir, can you explain what residual loss again? I didn't get it exactly.
Residual loss is basically, see, there are two costs: monitoring cost and bonding cost. So if the idea is that if you don't spend time on monitoring and aligning management incentives with shareholder interests, long term में क्या हो सकता है कि because you don't spend on these two, the company might end up taking a wrong decision, or too much power will be concentrated in the hands of these limited number of directors. उससे क्या होगा? There is nobody to keep an eye on them. They might end up taking a wrong decision, and that wrong decision will cost the company in the long term, and that long term loss is basically the residual loss that we are talking about. ठीक है?
Okay, sir.
Now, in terms of where does agency risk lie? It lies in the fact that because of short term pressures, because of their inability to have a long term outlook, the company continues to overinvest in print media. It does not make the right kind of investment in digital media, digital transformation. It does not see the long term picture. It does not fulfill the requirements of the code, and it will have an overall impact on the success of the company. So, this is where the real agency risk lies, and the non executive directors have to be present in the company to बेसिकली टेक केयर ऑफ दिस. ठीक है? सो अभी हमने कौन सा मॉडल देखा? वी सॉ पोर्टर्स फाइव फोर्सेस, स्वॉट, पेस्टेल, एंसॉफ, बीसीजी एंड
Agency.
गवर्नेंस. मतलब एजेंसी थियरी का हमने अलग अलग एंगल से देखा था. ठीक है? व्हेन यू वर डूइंग दिस एनालिसिस, टेल मी, वर यू एबल टू कम अप विद सिमिलर पॉइंट्स कि आपका कुछ और था? Did you have the same perspective or a different perspective?
सर मतलब पॉइंट्स तो थोड़े थोड़े सेम थे, पर आपने जितना एक्सप्लेन किया ना उतना नहीं मतलब क्लिक हुआ.
वो तो naturally ना अभी I have spent one full day plus I have done this earlier, so
सो
definitely it has an impact.
सर ऐसे लगता है कि लाइक वी आर नॉट दैट मच कंपेटेबल, लाइक ऐसे एनालिसिस करने के लिए आपकी एनालिसिस देख के.
बट ठीक है ना, अभी मेरा एनालिसिस मिल गया आपको, राइट? सो दैट मीन्स यू आर इन अ बेटर ऑफ पोजिशन देन यू वर अर्लियर, करेक्ट? लेट्स डू वन थिंग.
Sir, I was not able to connect with BCG matrix because
एक
Mercy
सेकंड,
company does not have specific.
अब बोलो, अब बोलो.
Yes, sir, I
सर
was saying I was not able to connect with BCG matrix because it
हम्म.
was not having specific particular products.
करेक्ट, दैट्स फाइन. यहाँ पे सी, आई डिड दैट बीसीजी मैट्रिक्स वाला एनालिसिस बिकॉज आई वाज ट्राइंग टू प्रीएम्प्ट अ सिचुएशन कि अगर ये हुआ तो आप पेपर में क्या कर सकते हो. It's okay if you haven't done it in that manner, because ideally what you are saying is right ना. ये एनालिसिस आपके पास मतलब प्रोडक्ट्स ही नहीं थे, तो इट वाज नॉट पॉसिबल टू डू दैट एनालिसिस. ठीक है? मैंने आपको एक, सी, आई हैव क्रिएटेड अ फ्रेमवर्क फॉर यू. इसके बाद इट डिपेंड्स ऑन यू कि आप इसको एग्जाम सिचुएशन में हाउ विल यू टैकल दिस, सो दैट डिपेंड्स ऑन यू. ठीक है? अभी व्हाट आई एम डूइंग इज these 6 models that we applied, I am uploading that on the drive. As you can see right now, the 6 presentations have been uploaded on the drive. ठीक है? इसके बाद what we are going to do is we are going to spend time doing some analysis on risk, because risk is a very critical part in the exam. I want to do a separate analysis on risk, matlab heat register, sorry, heat maps, risk register, everything I want to analyze for you, the 3 layers of defense and everything. अब the thing is, unfortunately, I'll have to halt the session right now. I don't know how is late night comfortable with you, but if you are okay, I am comfortable in conducting a session today from 11:30 रात को, और I can record it and upload it for you. आप जैसा बोलो.
सर
सर इफ इट डजंट
11:30
हैम्पर्स विथ योर हेल्थ तो इट
नहीं,
वर्क्स
हेल्थ हेल्थ
11:30।
अभी सब ठीक है, हेल्थ का कोई इशू नहीं है.
मैं
एंड
आपको कल बुकिंग भी है ना, इसलिए और कुछ नहीं।
हाँ, नहीं नहीं, एक नथिंग ऑन रिकॉर्ड.